Okay. Let's get this out. Headphones going. Okay. Hello. Oh, music might be just a little loud here. Take it down a notch. There we go. Okay, where were we? We were testing all of this stuff. Okay. All right, so we need to add a test case. I am working through some feedback from Vercel too, trying to figure out what we want to change. Well, I don't want to change. I think I'm very comfortable with where this test is at because there's just no, there's nothing to it, right? Like that's the whole idea of this test is that this is exactly what you get out of the box with a, you know, a Vercel function compared with a Lambda function. The Vercel function just has just one hello. Okay, so, oh, this is, this is the compiled JS. Probably didn't need that. Let's look at the TS file. So there's not a whole lot here. We just get their types. We set this value for whether or not it's a cold start, and then we return the uptime. So this is important. If you're just joining the stream or you're just new to this, the uptime tells us exactly how long this process has been running for, which tells us, because we know that Vercel will happily like warm up a Lambda function for us, which is great. Like that's kind of what I want out of a developer experience, because I don't necessarily like I don't understand why Lambda won't do that for us out of the box. But regardless, we don't want to throw this in the result if this process has been alive longer than we expect that cold start to be alive. So if the end-to-end request time took like, you know, 400 milliseconds, but the process says it's been up for a second, we know that they warmed it up ahead of time, which is fine, but we don't want to include those in the results. So instead, we've just got this little test case, and we did the exact same thing inside of Lambda. Lambda handler is just plain JS, but it's very, very, I mean, we could look at the compiled JS if we want to be clear here. Almost identical. This one just says hello. Oh, this is not the compiled version. I should probably commit the compiled version then. I must have committed this before. Regardless, you can see the actual code here, because we're depending on that to create the metric, so this certainly will be what's coming back in the response, and we can check that. And we're doing the same thing here in Node. So we're able to get the what time the handler started. for static init, we're able to get what time the cold, like whether or not that first invocation was a cold start. We return that in the result, and we return the uptime as well. So there's one big note I think that Vercel added. Oh, yo, Nixia618, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So we created these. These are all open source. Hey, yeah, welcome to chat. Thanks for joining. I'm pretty committed to any benchmark I run being open source. I want everyone to read the code. And Vercel did have a week to send me notes about this, which they did, which I appreciated. But I still feel I feel unpersuaded that this isn't the right way to just do an initial test, because this is the exact same code deployed in the exact same way to the exact platforms I want to compare. Now, Vercel pointed out that they run a web server. So let's take a look at this. Okay. So I've talked about this at length in the stream, but it's quite common to run like a small HTTP server inside of your Lambda function. People do that for a ton of reasons. And one of the major reasons is just you have this existing application you want to bring into Lambda. And that makes perfect sense, right? Like you've got this maybe Express.js app. I don't know what the Express du jour, or I'm sorry, the framework du jour is for APIs. Maybe it's Next.js, right? Maybe you have this like Next app that's already got a Node web server on it. And then what you end up getting is you end up having to convert Lambda's event model into an HTTP request. And that requires some allocations and some bytes, and it does take a little bit of overhead. It's not zero. So they mentioned they do this even for plain Lambda plain Vercel functions. So I want to like get a more even comparison. So today what we'll do is we'll create an example of that, and we get that rolling. The second thing they pointed out was just that they use a CDN, and they're not specific technically on what CDN it is, if it's inside of AWS or not. That's what I want to know. But regardless, their suggestion was to benchmark this from outside of an AWS network. So my goal initially, and let's just revisit this really quick. My goal was to keep the invoking function as much inside of AWS's network as possible. That benefits both Vercel and Lambda, and my understanding is equally. It seems like there's some sort of CDN for Vercel, and perhaps that lives outside of AWS. Although my assumption is that it's using Global Accelerator, which is AWS's backhaul, so you can route effectively, like customer requests will get routed to the closest region where they are physically located, which is a nice feature, but I don't think it changes anything for this test. So let's, for the folks that are new, where's my shapes? Here we go. Okay, so what are we doing? We have a control plane and we have a data plane. And what we have here is our benchmark function, US East 1. And what this does is there's this like, we'll call this like our test plane, so here are our test functions. And all these functions, we wait 15 minutes and we make sure they're cold. That is what Vercel said they did in their blog post. So that's what I wanted to do. And then I don't have an icon for a Vercel function, but there's like a plain vanilla function. Plain Lambda, hey. And then I guess we can use a triangle. Can I do a triangle shape? Well, let me do a triangle. We're gonna have to, Chad, I'm gonna have to draw one manually. Okay. We will do an orange triangle. Come on. Where's my 6? There we go. Oh, right about there. Okay, this is art. Oh, we didn't quite close the gap. Chat, it is not pixel perfect, but we will get there. Look at that. Yo, Avinash, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for chiming in. We're drawing triangles. Okay, this is our Vercel function. And this lives also in US East 1. They call it IAD or Washington, D.C., but we showed the environment variables last week, and we know that it's US East 1. I don't know why they rebrand it. That is their own thing. Okay, so this function will wait 15 minutes. It will call out to both of these functions. Whoa, this is, I guess it is a double arrow, but we don't need it. Okay. And once it gets the response, it records the result in CloudWatch, right? So then it takes the result and it puts it into CloudWatch. CloudWatch metric. Okay, so these cost money. I should probably put a note here. CloudWatch does charge for these. They're not free. But I am spending some AWS funny money on it, some AWS credits. So the problem that Vercel pointed out with this test, and it is fair, although, okay, I want to unpack that a little bit. Fair is relative. It is a design decision they made, which is they have inside of this plain Vercel function a HTTP server. And let's zoom in. So today, when you have a normal Lambda function, all right, so this is our setup, chat. This is what we got. Now, when we have a plain Lambda function, oh wait, hold on. Yeah, okay. So inside this Lambda function, typically what you get is this event model. This function receives an event. And an event, a capital E event, because it's like an AWS specific event. But I can show you examples of what they look like. Actually, let's just real quick. I just know, I know I've captured a lot of these for this test system, so we'll just look through these. API Gateway V1. This is like the event payload. Now there's one part of this, two parts of this we should talk about. The first is that it contains a bunch of metadata. It does look like a regular HTTP request, but it's not. As you can tell, it's already parsed JSON. So if you haven't read the incredible blog post about the guy that improved the GTA San Andreas startup time by like, or maybe it was a GTA 5, whatever, the startup time for GTA by like 500x because they found they were like reparsing like a 20, 30 megabyte JSON file over and over again. Parsing JSON can often be one of the slowest things your application does. I doubt that that's entirely the case, but we are talking about milliseconds here. So this request gets translated by API Gateway and then becomes like a direct invoke into your Lambda function as a JavaScript object. So it's already a struct. It's already parsed. Let's see another example. So like an S3 event looks similar. It's like an array of records. SNS and SQS, everything else is batch by default. And we talked about this. This is one of the most powerful features of Lambda is that you can process a bunch of records for any async path with one function. So first point, these are already parsed. I don't have to do anything. The second thing is that it also includes extra metadata, which doesn't necessarily come with an HTTP request. So what they have to do is normally you have some integration here. And in this case, like in a normal world, or I shouldn't say normal, AWS domain, you have this API gateway. This does the JSON formatting. So your request comes in, HTTP request. Great question, Dax. We'll get there. I know it's been hard for you to pay attention in class these days. HTTP request comes in, the JSON is parsed, and then this is passed as it is encoded as JSON over the line, but when your function receives it, function receives, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just doing a GET request via, I'm doing a GET request via Lambda function URL. Yeah, function URL. All of that is open source. All right, so let's just get this to fit. So normally this happens. Now, inside of Vercel, it's a little different. Now, we know from their blog post, and I want to pull this up quick. Okay, behind the scenes at Vercel. This is a cool blog post. I found this. Well, I shouldn't say I found this. I was made aware of this over the week, and they talk about how their entire application is set up and works, their entire like infrastructure. And this is what we're talking about here. So they have this edge location, which I assume is AWS's like global accelerator. That hits their proxy layer, and when we are going to run a function, we get routed into here. So there's not a whole lot in this layer going on for us. We're not using response streaming in this case. We're literally just getting the invoke request. But there is one nuance. So let's get this architecture drawn up. What do we do? Okay, so AWS domain, let's make this Vercel. Okay, so inside of Vercel, according to this blog post, it's a little different. there is this proxy layer, which is super, super fast. When you have a network proxy or like so I guess maybe we don't have to cover the difference between application proxy, like a L7 proxy and like an L3 proxy, but like a very, I'm sure they do request decoding, but a very, very straightforward proxy won't add much latency, like 5-10 milliseconds, like single digit milliseconds would be typical. But what probably does is that they have to convert this payload a little bit. So instead of this, you have their, we need to get some triangles here for this to be right. Okay. Oh, I hand drew this. I lovingly hand drew this, and I want it to stay. Can I group this? Yeah, I can group, right? Group selection. Oh, hell yeah. Now we got triangles. Okay. So now you don't receive an event, sort of. You do, but they have this wrapper around it. And this wrapper converts it. So inside of this function, the function still receives, let's back this up. Okay. Boom, boom. Okay. So now they have their CDN here. And then this routes your request to the proxy. I do believe, like, transparently, there's very certainly a CDN in front of Lambda. We don't have to cover that fully. It's irrelevant. It effectively becomes a proxy because we're calling a function dynamically. We are doing nothing. We're not caching a result. We're not returning a response. So this CDN layer is simply like proxying the request on. So now what they have their like proxy. Ooh. And this is not as pretty, but it's similar to what we discuss here. They have this proxy, get some metadata, and I believe this metadata, I'm sure, is like highly cached. That's the biggest reason why I wanted to let this test run for a while. If you look at when we first worked on this, so I threw Vercel a bone here, but if you look at when we first looked at this number gets a lot worse. The max is 1.56 seconds for Vercel if we look at the full week. And the simple reason is that there's a bunch of metadata that has to be fetched in the first couple of invocations, and this is the last point. Sorry, ignore this. But you can see like early in these results, so ignore the numbers, just look at the result. Actually, let's just look at the line. Early in this test here, there's like some real outliers on the Vercel side, and I think a lot of that is just like figuring out the metadata they have from my function and getting that into their cache, so the proxy becomes warm. I think that's still pretty fair because like that's what customers would experience once that whatever set of nodes that would normally serve your metadata for your function are warm, then it's there. And I do think it was only like one major outlier request, like that 1.5 second, that really threw it off. Could have been a cache miss, could have been a bunch of stuff. Extra, like a cache miss plus a cold start, super painful. Regardless, that's why I thought it was fair to say like there's like no other outlier for this, nowhere near. So I kind of was like, okay, this point probably doesn't have to be here. And that was the day we were like starting to test everything. So then you can see we get, you know, much more stable as things go, but Vercel is kind of always consistently just a little bit slower, which makes sense because they're doing more stuff. So what's this next part that they're doing? They have a two parts. They have a wrapper script and an extension. And what they're doing is they're just changing this HTTP request back into an event. So at some point here, I don't believe they're using API Gateway. They have their own like control plane. They call it the proxy. We'll just call it like, control plane maybe isn't fair, but this is their like service. This is the actual like service that does metering and performs any sort of, determines whether or not this request, actually the CDN probably determines whether or not it should be dispatched. I guess it is, yeah. So like cache miss goes to the function. Maybe we say that, yeah. It makes this decision on should this be a cache response or not. Invokes whatever they say Vercel edge middleware is. They didn't tell me a lot of this, and they don't have to. So I'm kind of describing what I would want to do. Dax, I know that's a tweet, but I'm still not clicking it. Not on stream. It could be anything. But what they do is they have this converter. So they get at some point an HTTP request is in this event wrapper. And then they're running this web server in here because they want, I'm assuming that makes Next.js work easier, but I was told that there is this like little tiny HTTP server in here. And that even runs for regular Vercel functions. So I assume what this is doing is like either receiving an HTTP request and converting it into an event, or at worst what it's doing is the proxy service sends them the event as a post body, and then it turns it back into another event. And like it parses it as an HTTP request and then turns it back into event and invokes your function. But I do think if we look at like their types for their, like you do get this like request response, and you have response.status. So I think it's just like, even their functions are just always a server. No, I'm not. What is happening on Twitter right now? Some things are happening on Twitter. Yo, thanks for the follow, ALS Journey. Hello to you too. All right, Dex, what did you tweet? Oh, this is a deep cut from February 2024. Forward your thing to a K8s container, forward it back to Cloudflare. I don't know if there's any Cloudflare in here. I'm guessing they're using AWS's network. Maybe Cloudflare? I don't know. They didn't want to say, and that's fine. They don't have to. Thanks for all the follows. I missed a couple. ICMP8, thanks for the follow. Carlo, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I mean, AWS has DDoS protection too. Like if they're using the WAF there. But there's two things, I guess, basically like Vercel wanted me to address. Like, can I test a Lambda function with an HTTP server? Sure. That's easy enough to do, right? We can test that. So, boom, today. The first is that. The second is they did say that in my example, this HTTP request from my Lambda function is in theory in the exact same region, which means it's in one of the 3 availability zones. Their belief is that I am somehow like obviating a CDN hit that they would have to go through, they have to pay. So they want me to test this also like from some other, not the first place, not the second place, but a special third place, which I guess is just gonna be my laptop. So the second thing we can do is latency from laptop. And I suspect the hardest part of this is figuring out the damn CloudWatch API. So I might just write those metrics to Datadog since I know that intake well. Either way, this is the weekend plan. So let's get started. What are we gonna do? Should we do the HTTP server? I am obsessed with Datadog. You should be obsessed with Datadog. I think everybody should buy Datadog, especially Datadog stock, but also Datadog's product. Let's see. What do we want to do first? HTTP server and Lambda or latency from laptop? Thank you, Dax. I appreciate that. That's going to be great for earnings. We just reported. Yes, I still program in PHP and jQuery. That's great. Ninja Codes, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. I can help. It's just a little Lambda. There's not too much to it. Just a little bit of code. It gets executed. Obviously, there's massive amounts of infrastructure here we can talk about, but these are just dots and lines. How hard can that be? All right, what is this serverless functions? Yeah, exactly. We're comparing two serverless functions, Vercel's and AWS's. And AWS's is built on top of Vercel's is built on top of AWS's, so there's a fair bit of overlap here. They do very similar things, and I wanted to sort of compare and contrast. But I do think I want to let's build out the HTTP server in Lambda because this is actually cool. Unironically, I think more people should probably do one, just not as a result of like if you're going to build brand new, but there's hundreds of thousands of old applications that are sitting on, 1 or 2 computers in the basement somewhere that could just be put in a container image and shipped to Lambda and cost you far less than the electricity. Dax says I still do this for brand new. Yeah, I mean I do too, but okay, here's my hot take. Like, put it in a damn Docker container, wrap it up with a API, like a HTTP web server. If you're gonna build an API, right? If you're building an API endpoint or like a collection of endpoints, just do that. Are you doing this from scratch to practice it? I wouldn't say practice. We talk about practice. Did it using Podman and Minikube? Talk about practice, man. No, we're just going to run this straight inside of AWS Lambda itself. The Lambda will run a container image for us. And I wrote this whole blog post about why container images in Lambda are like amazing now. And you should check it out if you haven't read it. This is a blog post all about why I think most development in Lambda should be in a container. And the biggest answer is you get all of the portability benefits and a bunch of latency benefits too. At basically anything other than a tiny function, they get a pretty serious benefit. I wonder what, so I'm trying to talk to a couple of people at Vercel that reached out and see if they've looked at container images. And I think the answer I have is like, yes, they've looked, and they don't have as far of a solid of a takeaway as I did. So that's totally fair. It's going to work differently for different use cases depending on what dependencies they bring into it. I also think that it makes some of the metadata things they're trying to do a little trickier, which is fine. You know, you got to make a product that works for you. So anyway, that's the link. Check it out. Containers on Lambda. But this one won't be. Let's do this one. Let's do this on a zip-based Lambda function, because that's the comparison Vercel wanted me to draw, right? Which is fair. I think like I want to see the result. I'm curious, even if I don't think that's the fairest way to display the benchmarks. Like I think this is the fairest. I think this is the most honest and most accurate. These are two exact same code. Yo, Eternal Divine Fox, welcome to the chat. Thanks for dropping by. I think this is the most fair because it's to the exact same functions, you know, deployed and then just pinged. You know, and I'm trying to ping them from physically the closest location possible. For Vercel, that means it has like a little extra stuff to go through because they have a, you know, CDN, they have DDoS protection and some other things. That's true. That's all true. But I'm not building Vercel. I'm comparing Vercel functions to Lambda functions. That's what I'm comparing. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Okay, let's get busy. So there's two things we want to do. If we want to do, oopsies. If we want to do HTTP server from Lambda. So we need the Lambda web adapter. That's great. We need that. And we need a Node.js HTTP server. Okay. So let's get this started. Do we want to be over here? Okay, so we have if you haven't seen it, this is the code for our little invoker tester. Yeah, AWS, so that is the AWS Lambda web adapter officially now as an AWS Labs product. That got rolled in to Labs. It was created by a AWS solutions architect. And then they ended up like supporting it officially, which is pretty sweet because it's a great project. Strongly recommend the Lambda web adapter. What is it? It is let's look. Talked about this on stream a bunch. ALS Journey, aren't Vercel using Deno for their serverless functions? I have no idea. I don't think so because when we look at the metadata in the runtime, it looks like the Node 20 runtime. Yo, Cornflake1, welcome to the chat. Welcome to stream. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the follow. Rust, by the way. Rust. The Lambda web adapter is a Rust project, and what it does is it does exactly what I was describing. It converts an incoming event into an HTTP request so you can talk to any kind of web application. Immediately drop it into Lambda. I think that's one of the coolest things because it's got a very low overhead. It just has to allocate the bytes for the actual request, which means that will vary depending on how big the request is. That's something we could test for this Vercel application. Lambda supports up to a 6 megabyte incoming payload. And I think if I wrote 6 megabytes of like, you know, lorem ipsum or something, the results would start to skew a little differently because it's just, you know, there's more places you have to copy bytes around. If you haven't done, you know, performance engineering in the past, anytime you're doing like a mem copy, that'll start to make you wince if you don't have to. So all of this like conversion between some sort of, you know, some set of bytes to an HTTP request back to another set of bytes, so like a JSON object or like a native, you know, like a JavaScript object or Python dictionary or whatever, that takes time. That's pain at a certain scale and at a certain, you know, when nanoseconds and milliseconds count, you try to avoid mem copies where you can. In this case, I don't think it really matters. That makes you wince, and you must wince when you look at the whole Lambda invocation pipeline. I do. I think I tweeted about all of the wrappers. Someone had, I think Benjamin pointed out, he's like, does adding another, like, we're talking about the Vercel stuff, and he'd said, does adding another wrapper you know, I try to like get as low to the metal as I can. And I'm like, well, you're writing a Rust-based Lambda function. You know, you've got a wrapper on a wrapper on a wrapper on a wrapper. You're so far away from bare metal because Lambda is a virtualized environment running in Firecracker. It's wrapped. It's got this whole like mock file system created by Firecracker, this whole mock system, like kernel system interface. Then on top of that, they're for sure using some sort of virtualization. It is bare metal, so there's not like, it's not like the time sliced VMs that you could get from a normal like AWS instance. They're running it on bare metal. There's no K8s, so there's like that other layer of virtualization done. They're not running Docker, so there's not the, you know, whole physical machine emulation being done by the Docker engine. But you still have Nitro. Nitro is their hypervisor. That baby is plugged straight into the PCI Express bus. Oh, we can talk about ALS Journey. I'm sorry if I'm losing you here. I'm just nerding out on. Okay, so AWS Nitro. This is an objectively awesome piece of technology. It is both hardware and software. And what it does is it lets them basically sell slices of a computer in like time slices, right? So you can have a CPU for an hour. But it does that with very little overhead or almost no overhead, which is cool. Yeah, Dax, Nitro's, I mean, Google could if they tried hard and believed in themselves. Google has all of the right people to do this. They just don't have nobody in their executive, you know, area is big enough to see this through. So you get this like security. There's a huge aspect of the security side. They can encrypt and send basically every single thing that leaves that machine can be encrypted, which is cool. But then they give you a hypervisor, and that is, you know, performance that is indistinguishable for bare metal. How do they do that? Well, they don't run their hypervisor on the chip they're selling you. Like that's how, right? That's the magic, is they have a separate chip inside of the Nitro card that does all of the I/O and it has all of the wrappers for managing, you know, which AWS account has which core for how long and that sort of thing. Does a bunch of really cool stuff. The other thing it does is it does this, I don't want to say trick. It does this thing called Remote Direct Memory Access, RDMA. Okay, now we're getting off task, but I love talking about RDMA. What is RDMA? Remote Direct Memory Access. So normally, when you want to, say you have two computers that want to talk to each other, we use the network, right? So we've got two computers, they have a network stack. What is in between all these? All of those layers of the internet. You're going to Neuralink? Dax, I'm never Neuralinking with you. I would be immediately traumatized. Immediately, irrevocably traumatized. There's not enough liquor and therapy in the world. When these two computers talk to each other, they have to go from the CPU. Yo, script. Hey, thanks for the lurk. I'm glad you like my voice. Enjoy your lunch. Thanks for coming into chat. Drop a follow if you want to hear more of this voice. It's powered by my blue water, which is just windshield wiper fluid. I'm kidding. It's Mio. So normally you have to talk, you know, you have like a CPU and you have memory. CPU, that writes to main memory, that writes to network, that writes to a bus, that writes to network, that writes to, you know, switches. Dax in my head roasting me as a soy. Dude, you think this is bad? You should see our DMs. He just roasts me nonstop. So normally you have to go through all this crap. Zico, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So two computers want to communicate. You have to go kind of through this, right? Through the hardware layer, you know, through the link layer, through the application layer, all the way up and down the TCP stack, back and forth, which means like your data gets divided into packets, gets divided into frames, gets sent. AJ, can you quit your job and do YouTube videos full time? No, I have 2 subscribers on Twitch. I have made so far, my monetization stats are like $1.38. So I'm not quite, I have a baby coming in July. We're not doing this. What does RDMA let you do? RDMA lets you take this up a notch. So these two things actually communicate via the bus, and this RDMA chip skips the entire kernel. So it doesn't talk to your OS at all. It literally just says, I'm going to grab this chunk of memory, you know, and just rip it straight over here. So it copies it straight over at a hardware level. Babies don't eat much. Okay, good, perfect. You know what childcare costs out here in Boston? It's like $5,000 a month for a kid in daycare. So my YouTube isn't quite covering the bills. So anyway, this is cool. This is why I like RDMA. Just leave them on the floor. Lets you grab stuff straight out of memory. And that is what part of what Nitro implements. And they do expose that as a product. It's their high performance computing thing. But I want to see more distributed systems use RDMA, because you break a lot of laws in distributed systems when you can instantly share data. Like instant synchronization is one of the hardest parts of distributed systems. And if you can use RDMA to cheat that, it gets really interesting. Okay. Okay. Boom. CDOSS. We are there. Okay. Which Vercel? Do we have Vercel something? Vercel runtime? Okay. Make dir. What do we call it? We did Lambda plain function, plain Lambda. Which one is this? Oh, Lambda cold start. Which directory is this in? Oh, screen. Okay, there. That's what we got to do. So we got to go back here, and then we got to do make dir Lambda web server. Okay. Dax, don't lecture me about SST. I have every command memorized here. AWS, Node.js. Okay. 2 parts. What web server are we going to use? And then Lambda web adapter. SST is bad for the weird shit I do. It just gets in my way. What do we have here? Okay. Sweet. Okay. Okay, so we need to install the Lambda web adapter. I think they publish it as a Lambda layer. Now, normally I would jump into my lecture about why you should never use Lambda layers, and I will, because this is my stream and it is normal for me to lecture. Lambda layers are sparkling zip files. They are a way to share code across Lambda, but there's one very important factor that they do let you do, and this is the exception to my rule, which is Lambda extensions. Amongst sparkling zip files, Lambda extensions are the LaCroix. They are the extra special sparkling zip file. Dax, type that into Google, see what you get. If my blog doesn't come up, I'm gonna be so upset. These are sparkling layers, and they let you perform work asynchronously from the main handler function. Yes, let's do it. Lambda layers reduce cold. Am I still number 1? I'm still number 1. AI stole my work. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I stole a lot from AI too. Anyway, so this is a special case, but we're gonna exploit the special case here. Your repos. No, I don't want this. Layer. Commercial regions. x86. I don't think Vercel offers ARM Lambda functions yet. They should. NVIM, serverless, Diamo. Let's go. We need a layer. Let's get out of this. We're going to use this. Why 1769? That's the magic number. Just if there's one thing you're going to take away from this stream, it's 1, I have a beautiful voice. 2, one thing, 2 parts. 2, 1769 is the magic number for a Lambda memory size. This is where you get 1 full virtual CPU. All right, everyone remember their YAML? US East 1. Okay. Now they have an example of this, right? Precompiled Lambda web adapter binaries. No, we don't need that. I don't want a Docker file though. We don't want to run this in Docker. Examples. Do they have a fast API? Wow. Let's just do Express.js and zip, and then we'll adapt this because we want Hono.js, right? Is Hono the one? Is anyone good at JavaScript web servers? Dax likes Hono. Okay, is there anyone who's actually good at JavaScript web servers in chat? Is it Hano or Hono? 12 reasons I like this. Okay, so what do they do? Oh, that's going to be a no, though, if it says, is Hono.js ultra fast? It says ultra fast. Fast, lightweight website. It doesn't say That's going to be a no. We're no for blazing on their website. Unfortunate. Fast, lightweight. Yeah, I guess it's checking a lot of boxes for us, isn't it? Fast, lightweight, small. Okay. Batteries included. Oh, I want less batteries. Don't give me battery. Don't even give me like lithium ion or like, you know, the liquid cells. I don't want any of that. No batteries. It's compostable. Well, that's helpful to know. No, so we already don't need the overhead of this. It's just that Vercel mentioned that this is how they're doing it, and I wanted to compare and see, like, build something similar to this and see what the end-to-end latency is. Oh wow, Justice. Hey, yo, shout out Justice for the raid. Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. We're talking about Vercel and Lambda, compare and contrast. Yeah, but you can't use Node HTTP or whatever? We could do that too. Do we want to do that, or do we want to use the Lambda web adapter? Because it would be easy enough to use like Node HTTP, you know, or serverless HTTP. This is a package. I've got a commit into here, I think. Is this a Doug's package? Yeah, it is. 35 contributors. Where's your boy? We're here somewhere. It's like 2 commits. There's Rock, buddy. There I am. Yo, welcome, welcome, welcome. Sven, welcome to the chat. Justice, welcome to the chat. Thanks for hanging out. We are comparing and contrasting Vercel functions and AWS Lambda functions. We're taking a look. They gave me some feedback on my open source projects from last week that we worked on, and they want to see some of this. Have you ever got... Oh, I get lots of leak code questions, Sven. Lots of leak code questions. Oh, Doug got a sponsor for this. Good for him. Okay. So we could do this. But then we would run, like, I think they have to build out an adapter for every server. So then it would be like, we'll have to use Express or we'll have to use Koa. And if we want to use Hono, I think we'd have to use the web adapter. What is their example for this? How much question did I get? So when I interviewed at Datadog, it was recruiter interview, hiring manager interview, technical phone screen with like 2 leak code questions. I would say 1 leak code easy, 1 leak code medium. And then a round of 5 in person, like not in person, but like virtual on-site. So there was like 2 more leak code, system design, hiring manager, and then like a VP thing. We were working on, oh, Clippy, okay. Doing some Rust. That's great. I shipped a bunch of Rust this week. What do we ship for Rust stuff? Ton of stuff. Bump a bum, bump a bum. There we go. Oh, I made a classic performance mistake here. We could talk Rust at some point. Classic Rust performance mistake where I was using a multiple publisher single consumer MPSC channel, and I had an unbounded channel. I was using a channel, not a sync channel. Oh God, what does this say? Fixing some clippy lints, working on a script that optimizes numeric literals and tests automatically. That's very cool. What did you get yourself into? Oh wow, all TypeScript, 22% Rust. When did you last write Rust, Dax? It was a while ago, right? I don't think this has me in it. It's like unindexed. 100% JavaScript. Even though these are all Rust. Yeah, this looks incredibly inaccurate. All of these were Rust changes. Anyway, and then yeah, this is distribution metrics. We're gonna do Rust a little later because they want. You only wrote Go for the last 6 months. My GitHub wrap up last year was almost all Go, but I only wrote it in like I think the last few months, and I think they just bias some of their like average to that. Okay. Do we want to do this? Mine are awful and inaccurate as well. Yeah, I don't. All of those like GitHub commit stuff I think are so weird. Very strange. Hey, Nimbu, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for hanging out. So do we want to do... What do they do here? This looks actually a little simple, right? Because they have their template.yaml we can recreate. I've heard there's some companies that don't ask technical questions. I think everybody's gonna, unless they know you, they're gonna ask technical questions. Opt bootstrap. Oh, that's for the Lambda web adapter. Okay, so that's fine. Events, proxy all. So we can do that easily with API gateway. Handler run.sh. So what? Oh, so they just have a script. Okay, I see. So they have just a shell script that calls node app. So we can do that. That seems easy enough. One sec. I'm getting a little warm under the lights. Okay, we're still good on CO2, so I'm not speaking total nonsense yet. Boom. How are you going to make these tests? That's a great question. Justice, is because you committed at one compiled CSS file. Yo, Kochi, welcome back. I had a couple jobs where I barely got, okay, so I'm going to age myself here. My very first interview for my first internship, they had asked me some of the, it was for a medical device company, not like tech, it was tech adjacent. Snow Kitty, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. And they asked me the question, like the Google interview question, like how many ping pong balls fit in a school bus? That was like the technical interview question I got as an intern. And that was very popular in the early 2010s to ask those like brain teasers to quote, see how you think about it. But it was just total nonsense. And it was all about like rapport, which is whatever. I thought that was, I remember thinking that was the dumbest thing. Yeah, Google used to ask this question: how many ping pong balls fit in a school bus? This is like OG Google interview questions. 2009. So now I'm really aging myself. This was like a golf balls, ping pong balls. It didn't matter. This was before Leak Code. Well, there was also Leak Code, but this was the question you would get. So be grateful. At least you can study for Leak Code, because this is just nonsense. All right, should we just do this? This looks simple enough. How many windows are in NYC? That was big. Did they actually try it out though? No one tried anything. Obviously, like the whole thing was like, oh, it's a thought exercise, which is just like a lame, I don't know. It's a lame, dumb thing. Start a web server. I wonder, okay, so we could look into we could peer into the bundle on a Vercel function and see if they're doing something like this. I doubt it. But we can just do this. Okay. Oh, is it bin bash? Or is it some different place in path? Yeah, it's just bin bash. Okay. Sharp bang. Node app.js. Yeah, that was some like OG stuff. Stream scratch, and where are we? We are in the Lambda web server. Okay. We need to. I think we want an app. Oh, and init-y. Okay, we got a little node environment going. Now we're cooking. Hono.js quick start. How do we do this? Get started. This had better be blazingly fast. Oh, this is TypeScript. Do we want this? Can you give me just plain JavaScript? Oh, that's fine. We don't need TypeScript. But it's ESM. That's still fine. And I didn't get the job. Yeah, I had a couple of those that I was like, why are we asking this question? I famously bombed an Amazon interview early in my career, but I wasn't a good student. Didn't do super well. It took me a long time to actually become a professional software developer. It did not happen right outside of school. And that's okay. That's okay, kids. Hashmap. I use Hashmap. Yeah. You just scream that in your sleep. If you're not waking up from stress dreams screaming that you should use a Hashmap, or like the answer is a Bloom filter, yeah, you're not leak coding hard enough. Oh, we can just create. npm create Hano. Does this work? Do we want that package? I don't know. I don't want to run their whole script. And is it just Hono? npm I Hono. vim app.j. Oh, we just got right here. I don't know how I would describe a the color yellow. Is it just npm run? This is just node app.js, right? Yep. We need to mv app. Does this work then? Oh, that panicked. Maybe we do want to do a Hono create. Actually. Oh, Hono has all this stuff already. Okay. Oh, this is okay. So this is we would need to transpile this because this is actually their TypeScript code. So we could do that. Is there a better? Oh, they have their own Lambda example. Okay, so Hono runs its own server. It doesn't use the web adapter, so you don't have to use that request. That might be the easiest way to test then. So should we just test it plain straight up Hono app? Okay. Let's do that. Okay, this is probably more accurate. Lambda web server. What do they want us to do? Make dir my app. Okay. Do we have to CD into it? Yep. CDK init TypeScript npm my Hono. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. Oh my god, the JSI silence warning on tested node version is just the worst. That needs to be in my shell. I hate seeing that so much. One of the downsides, I think, of testing in this manner with the Vercel is that well, I shouldn't say downside. One of the cool things about Vercel is they do warm your function up for you on every deploy, which is just like a nice feature that AWS should do, and they totally have the ability to do it. I think at their scale, it just gets really expensive. So they just don't do that. But Vercel does, and we can't control it, so we have to wait 15 minutes for that function to spin down, which is what they said they did in their test. npm I Hono, make dir lambda. Okay. Lambda index.ts. We are flying. It's faster than with Copilot. Index. Hello, Hono. They didn't say. I didn't ask. Lib CDK stack. Okay. Tab B. Lambda Hono stack. Wow. Okay, so it does a REST API. Interesting. Yeah, those questions were so dumb. Like, there's a reason they stopped asking those questions by like 2012 or 2015. They don't, like, the thought process thing just wasn't true, and there was a couple of peer-reviewed studies. Accidentally committing node modules shouldn't count to your contributions to these Git tools. No, I'm sure it looks for node modules, and then it just de-ranks you on their internal metric. They're like, this person is like less good. All right, it cooled off in here. Boom. Okay. Wow, we need to, okay. Woo. Okay. There we go. No giant blazing banner. What do we get? Unable to compile TypeScript. Lib lambda honosex node exported module. Oh no, you're killing me. What did I do wrong? I think CDK changed. Is this an old setup for CDK v2? Oh, Lerob just commented on my Twitter feed. I just got a notification. I wonder if he's going to hang out and chat again. If it's the real Lerob, I was thrown for a loop. He said, let's see. $393 for P99 is so much better. This is before other optimizations, more work to do. Yeah. Again, we threw out the max point, which we had to because something, I don't know, 1.56 seconds. That was when I was still messing with everything. But it is pretty good. Pretty impressive. But again, these functions aren't doing anything, and I want to do more with functions that do things. Okay. What did Hano want us to do here? What's wrong? That looks right. What is this complaining about? Lib lambda Hono stack. Oh. Oopsies. Yeah, so that's what we did wrong. We weren't supposed to delete all of this. Which one of you told me to do that? Dax isn't here anymore. We can't blame him. No, we'll still blame him. Everyone, blame Dax. Lambda, oh no. Yeah, this is the one we wanted to, or wait. I want to edit this file. Edit libcdk stack. So I think we just need to rename this. What? Oh. There we go. Block comment. This is perfectly acceptable code. Like we used to say in the business, technically flawless. What is a function URL? Wait, why do you have a function URL and then a Lambda REST API? ALS journey, how many years of experience do you have? Let's look. How many years of experience do I have? I done my work. So I used to work at a medical device company. So I graduated in 2013 of May. So that's like, yeah, 11 years now. Coming up on 11 years or just past 11 years. That's when I graduated, and if you count like the internships and stuff, it's like 12 or 13 years. And if you count really crappy HTML and Zelda fan websites, like 15 years. Depends what you count. There's a difference between years of experience and having the same year experienced, over and over again. So when I look to mentor or grow people, or I look to see people who are, to interviewing or give feedback on people. Oh yeah, Regalius. Welcome. Hey, welcome back, Regalius. Yeah, I used to make Zelda fan websites. Back when .tk domains were free and I was too young to have a credit card. That was my jam. So I try to look for people that have, first off, grown in their roles, but also people that have done a lot of different things. So I started like as a web developer on a back-end platform team. Then I got way more into distributed systems, and then I did a lot of distributed systems, and then I worked on libraries, and now I work on all of that stuff. I'm the staff engineer for a group of 22 people, and we own 3 now distributed backend services, and then a bunch of like front-end applications. They're all React, and then most of my work is like in the open source library stuff. That's why I was pulling it up to show people earlier. So yeah, been around. I think how do you like Tears of the Kingdom? Love Tears of the Kingdom. Great game. I'm the only thing I really don't like about the franchise is that when you beat Ganondorf you like it just resets to before that instead of like ending and then allowing you to kind of continue. That's what I would like to see. Okay, what is this? CDK synth. Why is I couldn't find entry file lambda nvim. What doesn't this like? Oh, what directory did I do wrong? Oh, do I not have anything here? What do we call this? We were supposed to do lambda / index.ts. Yeah. Oh, I didn't write it? No way. All right, Hono, that was my fault, not your fault. I want to be clear. Oh, yeah, for sure. Thanks, Regalius. Yeah, scripts. Yeah, if you just look at my GitHub profile, and I don't want to SSO in this browser, so I won't, but a lot of my work is, I mean, before this, I used to work on serverless framework, so I've got some commits in here. I actually worked on another side of their plugin. I mean, we have to, right? Like anything that, like my work runs in customer Lambda functions. So all of this stuff, like, has to be open source because you're going to run it on your computer. You're going to run it in your compute environments. So like our agent, all that stuff is all public. It is all open source, and it always will be. And we are hiring. Yeah, we have so, oh my God. How many? I'm really struggling to hire the right candidates right now. I should say we have 185 jobs in engineering open right now, all the way up and down the stack. And then we also have a early career page, early career engineering. This is more cycle based, right? So I think we only have 10 right now because like obviously it's May, so like interns are starting soon. Then the question is, how does your, oh no, so this is only the front end libraries that, or I shouldn't say front end, this is the open source libraries that customers put into their environments and then send data back to us. Are these remote? Not all of them. Some are. I don't think any of our internships are going to be remote. They're all in New York. They're awesome. Just go to New York. Have fun. I don't, if you're an intern, go to New York City for a summer and work. It's amazing. I don't like, so we have 8 remote here. And this varies. I think, to be honest, I think the remote jobs are most coveted, so they get snapped up first. So we had a lot more, and now people have applied. Yeah, feel free, careers.datadog.com. I'll send this. I can't, unfortunately, offer referrals to anybody who I haven't worked with previously. However, I can answer any questions. So feel free to drop them in chat or DM me if you want to ask specific questions. I'm always happy to answer some of these. Okay, we CDK synthesized, so let's echo AWS profile. Ah, perfect, okay. Let's get this out there. Yes, I want all of these changes to be made. Flying over to New York from Germany for an internship, I don't know. It's worth it. I mean, move there, live there. It's awesome. I think when you're early in your career, especially if you're also young, New York City is hard to beat. I wouldn't, yeah. It's a pretty awesome place to be. I think it's a little less awesome when you're trying to maybe, settle down, have a couple kids, but it's pretty, when you're in your early career, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, all of that is like handled, Regalius. There's like support for, yeah, you're like, you get paid. It's a paid internship and there's more than enough to cover rent. And I think depending on the role, there is like bonuses and stuff available if you negotiate well. So you'd be able to get a little moving stipend. Oh, here we go. We got an endpoint. Hello, Hono. Okay, that worked. Let's do. Is this running? Yeah, we're running. Okay. All right. That looked like kind of a long cold start. Doesn't surprise me. Let's look at CloudWatch log groups. I work in Boston though. I don't work in New York. Although a lot of the team that I work for or work with, I can't really say my team. I'm no longer a manager. I've worked very hard to not be a manager anymore. but a lot of them live in New York. 150 milliseconds in iteration. That's not too bad. Why did it run for a full second then, though? Oh, so it initialized really quickly. It's spinning up that web server live. That's wild. 1 full second. I wonder why. Should we unpack this? What is it doing? Boom, boom. Oh, you know what we can do? We can yoink this Lambda function. Chat. It's time to use an open source project. Lambda. All right. Copy ARN. Now, yes, I could I click the download link? Yes, I could click the download link, but we're not going to. Yoink. Target. Let's yoink this. Oh, I don't have my permissions on. That's profile equal personal. Yoinked. Yeah, unzip output.zip -d. Okay. Oh, it's literally just one giant. Prepare to be blasted. Oh, it's not even minified. Yeah, we have Canadian coworkers scripts. It depends on the role. What are they doing here? Look at this. How many lines? Oh, it's not even too long. So they wrote their own little wrapper. Here's our actual handler. Kind of clever. This isn't exactly the same as the Vercel thing, though, because they're still getting an event. Do they? No, they're not even parsing anything here. I guess it's not exactly what I consider to be the same, but we can test this. Although I think it'd be worthwhile to test like something more classic. Smart router. You know, all of these little HTTP wrappers are very interesting components to deliver now. I think it's interesting like Hono's doing this. I like the idea of presenting a single like a single package that covers all of these cases, though. That is objectively neat. So now they have this like very simple like app, new Hono. No one told me this. Chat, does anyone know? Does anyone actually know? That's fine if you don't. So then they just call serve, and that is smart enough. You know, I think that's just fine. Okay. All these metrics for the oh no, to fit the meme. All of these projects, by the way, like we've been testing, they're all open source, so you can read them if you want. This is like the Vercel version. That's the AWS version of it. You can see it too. It's all the same, all open source. Okay. Let's cause a cold start here and get a quick time check on this. Oh, look at that. Have you been only testing JS stuff? I did a whole talk at AWS's annual conference last year, reInvent, of a whole bunch of different languages and comparisons. So we mainly focused on Node and Python, but my friend Max has this application that tests kind of every single one. You can check that out if you want. That's just Hello World, but you can see the cold start analysis for literally every runtime that Node offers and many different sizes. Oh yeah, Rust. Look at that, by the way. Wow. A lot of RAM though, 13 meg. Anyway, so today it's been mostly JavaScript because that's what Vercel does. But what I wanted to write, which we won't have time fully today, but a local test script. So there were two things we wanted to do that Vercel mentioned. The first was use an HTTP server. That's what we're standing up right now, and then latency from laptop. Although I don't think Hono's not exactly an HTTP server. It is just adapting the event. So I'm not sure it's entirely fair. I kind of want to just add this anyway. It's easy to add another test. So updating the configuration variable, the environment variables, or any function configuration will cause the Lambda function to have a new cold start. So now we can test this. Let's get one little reading here. Yeah, so that's 1.4 seconds. So it is. Hey, Hack and Soul, welcome to chat. Good to see you. Haven't heard from you in a while. Hope you're doing well. All good. Okay. So that's Lambda Hono, but let's just keep this on the burner. And let's do a... I think we should do a Lambda web adapter with Express project. I think that's the path. I think that's the closest to what they're doing. Set this up. Oh, and okay, there's one more thing we have to do. That'll take a lot longer, which is response streaming. Later. That's actually the thing I'm probably most excited to dig into, although I think that will take many days because that is the most differentiated. I think Vercel built like a totally different setup. Just trying to guess what you're doing, measuring the thing Dax mentioned about Vercel functions being bloated. I mean, I don't think I would say bloated. I think they've done a pretty good job of minimizing their impact on Hello World. But that's also not really testing anything they're differentiating, right? It's literally just Hello World. But yeah, we did, we can see the metrics rolling in here. The blue is going to be Vercel's latency, and then the orange is like AWS's latency. So across the board, Vercel's, a little slower for Hello World. But there are spikes, where like some AWS Lambda function just got placed in like a bad node. They do have some custom logic, yeah. So we talked about that a little bit at the beginning of the stream. Vercel, we read this blog post. Hey, Amur, welcome to the stream. Welcome back. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Vercel has this proxy system, and that decides, first off, like what request is this? Are you going to grab an asset, or are you going to grab a, do an invoke or do some sort of like resizing image or talk to an edge function? I think in this case, it's mostly transparent for serverless functions. I think they see that it's getting routed to a serverless function and just hit it immediately. That's partly why I think you could look at this result and say like that's why the latency is so good, and I think you'd be right in saying that, because it's like, as far as wrapping Lambda and then also having a dispatcher in front of it, 60 milliseconds of overhead at P99 is pretty good. All right, I have to use the bathroom super quick. I'll be right back. And we're back. Let's elevate this desk. Cool. All right. Thanks for sticking with me. Let's continue. So we've got Hono deployed. I want to, but because it's not really doing any of the HTTP adapter stuff, I want to create a better example. Hack and Soul. So we had tested Vercel versus Lambda head to head, and Vercel's, pretty much always slower, but not by a huge amount for just a plain function. One thing they pointed out is that they're converting events to an HTTP request. So I wanted to just try that and see, if we can get that in a test system and test it over the course of the next week. So let's get started with this, and let's, I don't want to use Hono or Hono because, well, I'll keep Hono out there. Hono's doing something weird. And I want, it's also not exactly like a full HTTP conversion. So I want to try this out with it. Let's just use Express in a zip. Boom, boom, boom. And we should probably, we could probably also compare like Express in a container. That would be fun. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, so you slash make their Lambda Express web adapter. Okay. Create this. Shout out to everyone who came in here and said they were going to lurk while they ate their lunch. Yum. Okay. Yeah, so that's what we're benchmarking. And remember, we always check the round trip end-to-end latency. Justice, I build Rust Docker containers with build standard panic abort and panic immediate abort. I just found out about panic abort and panic immediate abort from a friend this week. Do you know if Rust Lambda cold start stuff does that as well? My guess is it does. We can look. Once again, plugging the excellent Cargo Lambda project. Thank you so much, David, who joined the stream a little bit, or well, chimed in chat last week. Panic abort. Maybe not. We can ask. Okay. How does this work? Template.yaml. So let's clone their template.yaml first. We need the Lambda web adapter. Scripts, Cloud Newbie here. I understand the concept of Lambda functions, etc. What is a proper good use case of Lambda functions? Aren't websites backend logic sometimes depending on databases end up cost-wise not worth it? Ooh, that is a lot to unpack. The answer is it depends. It depends on a bunch of stuff. Lambda, out of the box, any Lambda function you deploy is going to be highly available. If that's not important to your business, then that might not matter. This is virtually important to every business, which is why every cloud, not just AWS, is set up this way. So in one region, there's multiple availability zones. You have an odd number and at least 3. That is important for what's called a quorum in a distributed system. At a certain point, all applications are distributed. When you want to run in 2 different physical buildings so that if one of them burns, you don't lose all of your business, that's just like a factor you have to contend with, and then Lambda kind of handles that for you. That's one of the big reasons. So it actually can lower a lot of costs until you get to a certain size. At that size, yeah, Lambda, like as a pure compute, tends to be more expensive, especially if you have like a constant stream of, say, 1,000 requests per second for all day, every day, then yeah, you might as well use auto-scaling groups, and I would probably suggest Fargate, but you could also run it on like Kubernetes. I'm on call for K8 services, so I've done both. They're fine. There's, benefits, pros and cons to both. Lambda has this amazing ability to deploy something quickly and very simply, and it just sort of scales. So you can write your application code once, and if it takes off, it becomes very popular. It's hits the front page of Hacker News or whatever the kids, whatever website the kids go to these days. Then it will still stay up and it will still serve. So that's kind of the advantage of serverless in Lambda. I would say Lambda it shines in asynchronous processing. So if you want to compute data, aggregate information, run, you know, P99 or like distribution calculations, or you want to do a bunch of ETL, right, and like churn through large CSV files, Lambda is really good at distributing that out to many little workers and then like combining it somewhere else. It's still good, but less cost effective for like a general API. For anything that's not high volume, it's awesome. So if you're doing you get 4 million requests per month free to Lambda, invocations per month. So if you're under like 4 million requests per month, you should just use Lambda because it's free, right? Like at that point, it's $0 and you might as well just use it. And then beyond that, it's a sliding scale. But you do have like the benefits are just you get these like huge operational overhead wins where like one developer can just run this all. Thanks for the follow. Hope that answers your question. Okay. So we need a Lambda layer. Remember, kids, don't use layers at home. We're just going to hard code US East 1 because that's the region I'm going to use. It also, like, cloud makes it a lot easier to be global. You know, if you have customers in different places, that's a great reason to use cloud. Before we go, though, we should talk about the Google Cloud outage. That was horrible for this one customer, this one user. All right, so we set this up. We're not going to use that. We're going to use this. Okay. What do they do? Environment variables, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we need this. URL, true, environment. And then this is not this. This is just that. And this is lowercase. There, now we just converted a SAM template to serverless framework. Genius. Okay. I don't think we care about node 20. And we don't care about any of these comments. I don't think we need any IAM permissions. Actually, yeah, we should do node 20. Everything else is node 20. We should test in node 20. That's just the nice thing to do. Handler run.sh. Is handler run.sh correct? Yeah, it is. Bootstrap. Okay. Okay, so we need their opt bootstrap. Oh, that's coming from the layer, so that doesn't matter. Events, event.json doesn't matter. Hello world. Did you see amplify functions, by the way? Which ones, Hack and Soul? There are a lot of those. So it just uses Express. We can probably just use Express. I also used SG location detail equal none. Justice, can you DM me on Twitter or on LinkedIn and send me all of these flags? Because I want to try this. I appreciate that. My DMs are open. Oh shoot. You may have to follow me. I'm getting a ton of spam and it gets like wrapped up in that bin. So if you could just send me a DM, though, I'd really appreciate it. And if anyone has questions, you can always DM me on Twitter. I'm happy to answer any questions about Lambda or serverless or when to use it or when not to use it. Okay. What do they call this? App.js? Yo, thanks for the follow, Arcade Dales Bizzo. You know what? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. All right. Okay. npm I express. Okay, localhost 8080. Growly, thanks for the follow. Yeah, if you could send me the... Oh, perfect. Okay, this is working. Yeah, if you could send me that, that would be awesome. You can post it in chat, too. I'm just probably not going to have a chance to look at it right now. Okay, so that's hello world. Now we have to get it to conform to our API response. So this is app.js. And what do? We did a bunch of stuff. So we care about the process uptime. And okay, so we need a cold start. Map. App.get. We don't care about these headers. Oh no, what did I delete? Oh, I did a bunch of stuff, okay. Oh, they have weird tabs. We're doing 4 space tabs? What? Who allowed this? Okay. We're on 3. Okay. Res.send, that's fine. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, we don't care about any of this. Don't be scared. It's just plain JavaScript. It doesn't have any types. It's okay. I promise. So it's res.send resp. Have you used Koa instead of Express? Should we use Koa here? We can use Koa. I don't think it changes anything. I think their Koa example, is it more lightweight? It's not blazingly fast. I don't think Koa is any different. I think Koa is like almost exactly the same, right? I just want hello world. In 10 minutes, chat, we don't have 10 minutes. We need 30 seconds. Const app. We know it's there. There it is. Const app. No, oh, it's got like a router and a body parser. We can probably do this. I mean, we can test it out. I think if you want to do like a framework shootout, we can do that. I don't really think that's that interesting. Oh, evolve to monkey. Sorry, someone on YouTube said, I just started socket programming. Any advice? Oh God. Socket programming. This probably was a while ago. I'm sorry I missed this. Study the specs. Okay. If you are new to network programming, there's a reason. Oh, you can't see this. There's a reason that HTTP and TCP exist the way they are. So study those, learn why they exist and how they exist, and then apply those to your protocols. That's my best advice if you're building socket stuff brand new. I just did some of this for Unix domain sockets in Lambda for work, as well as just like a UDP socket. And yeah, you have to think about things like the structure of the package, how you're going to handle retries and failures, bidirectional communication. That's all super important stuff to think about. There's a reason it's done that way. This looks to be working. Okay, and then we need this, right? We need like is cold start equals true, and then do we need anything else? Oh, we want the init time, because we don't know how long requiring express is going to take. Probably a little bit of time. Probably a lot of time. Okay, fine. We will appease the underscore gods. Is this it? This does work? And now what else do we need? So we're gonna let's get this onto Lambda. I think that's the next step. Where is Express? I can't read it. Okay, here we go. Express.js is zip. Yeah, I don't think there's that much to it. Such a handler to run.sh, and we chmoded it, right? Oh yeah, we're executable. You get that X, boom, we're executable. Okay, why is my node module? Oh, it's a directory. That's why. Okay. TCP exists because Quick wasn't a thing yet. I mean, there's some truth to that. Although there's like exactly one gRPC endpoint that's like public and everyone uses, and that's like Google's. It's like a test, gRPC. Most people aren't using that over the public internet because it's just not as good. The advantages exist. They're meant to be run on a local network. Okay, should we just? Oh. How big is this function, do we think? 3 megs. It's not the worst in the world. This also isn't ES built or anything. So we could probably ES build this and make it a lot faster. But let's just get it out there. Boom, 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 boom. All right, I'm gonna have a bite of my protein bar. All right, let's look at some of these replies. Those numbers suggest it's including network latency. Yes, we always include end-to-end request latency because I'm just going to plug my own talk, right? There's a great talk on this available on YouTube. I gave this talk so that I could plug this.
All right, I think we're...
Okay. Do you ever Google yourself? Oh God, should we? This is work stuff. X wanted me to prove that I'm human. Deleted everything. Oh, GG. Give me a second. I'll write it again. Yeah. Yes, Justice. You better be human. Otherwise, you're the best AI I've interacted with lately. It's just dumb work stuff. Oh, and my MMA stats. Oh, 1-0, 48 seconds. Undefeated mixed martial artist. 2009. What the fuck is that? This is when I was when I did an MMA fight when I was younger. That's what comes up when you Google me. Oh, I have a complaint for DMCA. Go sleep, brother. The time for sleep is now. Yeah, it wasn't a good. I mean, I didn't even get hit. He threw a punch. He didn't throw a very good punch, and then he like kind of. I was able to slip, and I was able to take down, and then rear naked choke. It was very fast. All that to never get hit. Okay, this should be rolling. Is this working? Oh, crap. No, give me this. How large does your company need to be to implement Lambda functions? It's a lot, like a lot of stuff to learn and understand. I mean, all sizes can benefit. I think everyone should learn a little bit about it. The one thing I would call out there, I think a lot of folks on Twitter, especially the, self-host and build your own VPS or host on your own VPS crowd, assume that people that run serverless functions do not know how to run their own server. And that's just not the case. Like I said, I'm on call right now for a couple of services that are running in K8s. We run them in production. That is how my day job works. I've done it for a long time. Serverless is just a nice complement to it. There's a lot of things that fit really well there. Not a cold start. Okay, so we've been up for a minute. Okay, we want this to get into the test system. Justice, thanks for the DM. I appreciate it. I don't want to out you on my stream, so I won't pull it up. But I will take a look. Okay. All right. This is funny. This is all. Will it even open? Oh, it will. Hono.js. I want to know why Hono was slow in that first bit. Anyway, okay. Functions. Which function was this one? What do we call this function? Lambda Express. Yeah, web adapter. Okay. So we talked about this. We can't rely on. Wait, what? No, I don't want that function. Express. Why is that function not there? What? Where did this function go? Chat. Did this get deleted somehow? Oh, it's right here. Stack name, resources. Oh, hello. It's just called hello. Oh my God. Okay. We got to tear this down. I did a bad thing. I named this in a way I cannot find it again. Did a bad thing. Named something poorly. Standing with corded headphones, not as nice. We could use these nice noise canceling AWS headphones they gave me. Boom. Some hero swag. But I like the sound of these. These sound nice. Yeah, hello. I can't believe I did that. Not hello. We want this to be express. LWA. Two hard things, cache and validation, naming things, and off by 1 errors. That's true. We tested Bun. Hack and Soul, you were here when we tested Bun. We could still test Bun. Boom. Okay, come on. Create this CloudFormation stack. Let me curl this endpoint. No, I don't think AWS will ever add a Bun runtime. I don't think they have any incentive to. Like unless there's customer demand. But I do believe Vercel supports it and they were able to add it. Lambda Express Web Adapter. Okay, Vercel people are liking my tweets. Are they in chat? Hello, if you work for Vercel, say hello. Welcome to chat. A couple people are dropping by. I guess they're probably West Coast. I forget what, I don't know how that company's set up. Maybe they're remote. ALS Journey, you're not. Guillermo has not been in chat, although he's been in my DMs and an email. Why Vercel limits the upper limit on the functions? I'm sure there are good reasons. I have a paid plan on Vercel now. I'm on the trial. I think AWS has an incentive to have the slowest possible runtime. Actually, okay. Well, my hope, my hot take is that AWS should start charging for cold start time. For managed runtimes, they don't charge for that right now. But in Java, they did all this work in like Java, you know, the actual runtime. And what they did was they made it faster and used snap start, right? They like rolled this snap start out. And I want to see them do that in every runtime. And they can. Like, there's no reason they can't. They have the money. It would make them more money. So they should invest in it. And then they should just start charging for initialization time. Because at that point, you can do more, you know, to manage your own cold starts. And you already have a lot of tools to do that. We've given a talk on that. So that's pretty good. 699 milliseconds round trip time. But why is cold start false? Did I code this wrong? Now we have to find that function again. Do we do this right? Maybe you did the programming logic wrong here. Hey, there it is. We found it. Is Bun a heavier runtime than Node? No, I wouldn't say that. Don't charge for unauthorized requests. They're fixing that. That'll get fixed. I think Theo just did a whole video about it. I haven't watched it yet, but I guarantee you here's what's going to happen. I must have programmed this wrong. Okay, the logic is wrong here because this said cold start false and it's returning. So, okay. How do I do this? I mean, Node is written in C++, which is in the same exact, like it's a systems programming language like Rust or Zig. So I haven't watched Theo's video, but I'm sure it's going to come with him telling, like him starting out saying like S3 is bad and then talking about why S3, like why they use S3. Guillermo did just DM me. 1 second, just responding. Oh, S3 is bad as a thumbnail. I mean, it's got a lot of rough edges. He's right. But I don't know, because I'm fairly certain upload thing, he'll talk about it, and it's built on S3, and he's like, I fixed all the problems with it, which maybe. I don't know. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get back to this. We want to add this to our benchmark. No, I mean, there's just like, okay, is S3 rough around the edges? There's a lot to learn. It's not, you know, the whole like simple. It's like more simple than that. Thanks, Justice. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate the DM. I will check when I'm off stream. But yeah, well, I want to get this done first. Okay. So this is the Lambda web adapter, and we need to figure out why the cold start detection thing isn't working. So this must be, okay, so let's just do this. Like, request count equals 0. Okay, so we have to modify this slightly. So now what we'll do is we'll just set I guess we could have done the same thing with a Boolean. Are we? No, we couldn't have, because it's gonna, I think it's gonna run through this. Well, actually, yeah. What will this be? Let's return the request count. Because the web adapter is, it pulls on, okay, I know why. Sorry, this was a bad test. The Lambda web adapter needs a liveliness check, a liveliness probe, and it will hit that endpoint before it returns the result. So it's like a health check. So we're gonna hit this twice. So what we can do, cold server, yeah, we could do that too. But I don't. It's going to hit this route. Aslo being yo, welcome to chat. Thanks for joining. We're building a Express.js server inside of Lambda to test, to compare with Vercel's round trip cold start request time. And we're always testing round trip cold start time. That's super important. We always want to test round trip cold start time, because the metrics we get from, we're testing this AWS Lambda. It's always round trip cold start time. You cannot just look at the init iteration. This is cool to see. Don't get me wrong. We like seeing it, but we can't just rely on that. How do I force a cold start? Regalius, I wait 15 minutes. So here's the metrics, and each of these are 15 minutes apart, and that is enough time for Lambda to spin down. And if it's not, we actually report the result. Aslo, thanks for the follow. So what we do is we look to see if this variable is set, and we just report the result. So what we need to do is just add a new, like, this is our health check, right? Like app.get / and then this is the health check, but we can do, okay. What does this do again? Oh, sorry. Finish answering the questions before I move on. In Vercel's comparison, they say they wait 15 minutes for it to trigger down. Yeah, we can't just do the dummy environment variable trick that we do in Lambda, because Vercel optimizes that by giving you it will warm up your function with a ping it'll basically, as you deploy, it'll do like a Lambda invoke. And that's great because then you don't have a cold start like when you test something. It's like part of the deploy step. You can build that on top of Lambda. It just doesn't come free. You have to use what's called a Lambda function alias in a version, which you can do. But it's just like not straight out of the get-go. So what happens next is we let the function spin down and we test it. But just to make sure it's a cold start, we look at the initialization of the function to see if this the variable that we're setting is still like cold start true, and then the handler code like immediately sets that value to false. The reason this doesn't work in the Lambda web adapter is because they have a health check feature. So it pings your health check to make sure that your application is running, and it by default it uses a / route. So we can change that, and we can just send an OK. Thank you, Copilot. Wow, Copilot, no semicolons. You the real MVP. And then we need to adjust the environment variable for the health check endpoint. So AWS Lambda web adapter has a health check configuration variable, health check. Oh, readiness check path. By default, it's /, so let's just do /health. Okay, and now this should be, whoopsies, this should be, we got to revert this. Let is cold, let lay. Okay. Copilot, we agreed, no semicolons. So now we still get the init time when the process starts. It'll quickly get the health check result, and then we're going to run the actual handler code, and we don't need this request count. Yeah, we don't want to unverify. Oh, Guillermo just replied. That's nice. Thank you, Gearbo. I don't think you're here, but either way, welcome. Do you need to start is cold start false? Yes, Justice, I do. Did I not do that? I did. Yeah, good call. Is cold start equals false? No semis. Okay. Thanks for the response. Appreciate your thoroughness. I want to respond to this, but oopsies. I accidentally leaked the DM from Guillermo. It was very kind. It's not, he's a very kind person to me, and I think to everybody. Appreciate your thoroughness. Small gap and P9 that will reduced. Stay tuned to vercel.com/ship. Yeah, if this is an invite, let me know. You know where to find me. This is sweet. May 23rd coming up. No, I don't have Vercel credits. They have a great 2-week free tier, which I'm happy to use, and then I'll just put my own credit card down. Okay, I just sent this to Guillermo, but one of the things that this architecture enables them to do is build their own like response streaming from Lambda. They built it, it was out like a couple of months before Lambda built it, but I believe that this also allows them to do request streaming as well. And I would love to see Vercel build out request streaming and like request plus response streaming, like bidirectional. Yes, I am on the free. I'm not on the free tier. I am testing with 1 vCPU. Lee Rob joined chat last week and mentioned that, so that was super great. And yes, we are set up with 1,769 megs of RAM or 1 vCPU. So that's what we're comparing everything to. Did we do that here? Oh no. Yes, we did. Right? No, we didn't. Memory size. Good check. Okay, let's get this out there with 1 vCPU. What's my story? What do I do? I am an engineer at Datadog. I work on serverless performance. Right now, I'm mostly writing a lot of Rust, but I write a lot of Go, a lot of JavaScript, a lot of Python, work on backend services. I've got like 5 PRs in our front end. Not much. But yeah, I work on serverless stuff. I'm the staff engineer for the serverless group. All right, let's get this deployment out. And then we should respond and let like a couple of comments on this. But yeah, to be clear, like I think this is a very fair comparison already. I know Vercel doesn't think that. We are going to test what they want to test, which is what we're doing right now. So I have no problem with that. That means that we're adding this like, this is normally how it works. And here's what we're doing. How many years? About 13 years experience. We looked at my my LinkedIn page earlier. Function receives event payload. Receives an HTTP event. Okay, so this is now running Express. This is what we're testing right now. Bam, boom. It's not a bidirectional arrow. And then this thing gets converted. Now there's this Lambda web adapter. Lambda web adapter. And that's in Rust, by the way. We can, oopsies, align that center, bring it in. And this converts this to an HTTP request. So that's what we're testing now. That's very similar to what Vercel is doing, I believe. Okay. Did this deploy? Yes. Okay. Boom. And then we got to plug it into our system and then let it sit. Time curl. Wow. Good. That seemed to work. Cold start true. Okay. The slightly downward arrows really trigger me. Sorry. Let's just correct this. There. That better? Boom, 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 boom. All better. Fixed. Okay. So that looks good. And now cold start should be false. Okay. Good. Process.uptime 0.2. Okay. So now we've got to go to our benchmarker. Hold on. We have to first. I'm hiding this because if people invoke this, well, okay, let's remove this. We'll deploy a new one. I'll hide it. I'll get the URL. I'll plug it into the test system. And then we're going to have to let that bake for a few days. And then what we'll do is we'll move on and we will test, we will set up like the local test, the local version, which is going to talk to, it's going to talk to a Vercel function and then a Lambda function from my laptop. And we'll test a plain Vercel function, plain Lambda function, and then also a Lambda function with like Express in the web adapter. Okay. I'm going to open the window again. All right, so we've hidden it because I don't want people to get the URL and request it. Even though if people do, we control for that, right? We already check to make sure it's a cold start when we measure it, and if it's not, we don't record the point. Regalius, any cons to snap start? Well, for one, you have to write Java. I think that's a pretty big con, if I'm being honest. But no, CloudFormation versus Terraform, I use them both. They're both pretty good. I think Terraform is great for large DevOps teams that already know it super well. But if you might end up using not using Gaussian blur. Good job. It's not that secret. It's not a password. And CloudFormation's awesome because it's like launch ready, day one, everything's set up. So it didn't used to be that way. OGs in chat will remember when a service would launch and then at the very bottom it'd be like, no CloudFormation support. And you're like, great, this service sounds amazing. I can't wait to use it in 6 months. All right, we're deploying, and then I've got two. What do you mean you can't find window 3? It's right there. That's the environment variable. It's more than 6 months. Yes, wait for CDK support. You're worried about subnets. You can do subnets. Oh. Don't worry too much about the networking. Just use one large, like in your VPC, create. You kind of just need one, depending on what you're deploying. Where you need more is if you want to put a database behind it. Then you want like a private subnet with egress, and then you want like a public subnet. There's a couple of good guides on this. Actually, you know what? If I were you, I know this is still deploying and I'm hiding my screen, but I will come up with. I'll show you the example I would follow if I were you. Remind me in 2 minutes once I get this done. Where is this? Vercel, AWS benchmarker, LS. Okay. I just want to. Okay. Oh, okay. So we need one more. Okay. I just need to export these environment variables and then I can open it back up. Okay. Okay, Lambda web adapter. Clear. Cold start LGA. Okay, I think I've done this right. Okay. Woo! We did it. Okay. Now I have to add the handler. We need one more environment variable. Tab B. V. Oh, sorry, serverless. 1 second. Oh, this is the right one. Let's just close. Yeah, I don't want this anymore. Okay. LWA process.env.cold start LWA. Okay, and I think we do. This should be all good. 1 second, let me make sure this environment variable is there. Okay, we're there. Good. Okay, we gotta do this deployment. Bam. Okay. Boom, boom. Okay, we added this function into our test system. We added our function into this test harness. Export AWS profile equal personal SLS deploy. Okay. Asla being, what I want you to do is go to AWS CDK samples. Where is it? Yeah, this is awesome. This is an awesome resource. If you want to learn AWS and you want to learn CDK and you want to learn how to set stuff up right, there's a billion examples here in every language you can just grab. Just so many. You know, you want to deploy just like an EC2 instance, that's fine. You want to deploy like RDS, there's examples in here for RDS. And there's like good networking advice in here too. So it'll set up like a public and private VPC. It'll set up wow, I'm blanking on the name. That's embarrassing. I forget what the firewall rules are called, but it'll set those up too. No, not WAF. It's a silly name. I don't know why. Security groups. Security groups. It'll set up all the security groups where you can, like, you know, put your database in there, and then it'll let you add specific routes. And so you have this like database security group.add ingress route from self and add egress route to, you know, EC2. I'm a noob at networking. Cider. You don't need to know anything about cider blocks anymore. ChatGPT can do it for you. Okay, sweet. Okay, so chore number 1 for the day checked off. We've got this Lambda web adapter process in the test. Do we want to do Hono too? Chat, what do we think about Hono? Do we want to try Hono? What was this? Oh, that's Leyoink. Goated project, Leyoink. We need this up. What did I call it? I just did Vercel or Lambda. What directory was it in chat? Who remembers what I called the Hono? Oh, it's in Stream Scratch. Thanks for nothing, chat. Lambda Hono. Is it info? What? Ugh. Not init. Show me the resources from the CDK stack. Oh, CDK metadata? Yeah. Oopsies. Well, that doesn't matter. Data. Did that get deleted? Oh, this yellow warning is going to just be the death of me. I need to add this to my shell. I don't know why I do this. Okay, now at least we've got that going. Let's did this not get to did I delete this stack? I don't think so. It's there. We just got to get the URL. We can add Hono too if we want to add Hono, because there's two different ways of doing this. There we go. It's there. Okay. AWS. Oh, because it's got a whole API gateway in front of it. I don't want that. I want the where's the function URL? Console. Lambda Hono. Function name, Hono stack. Boom, boom. Does this not have a URL? URL true, function URL. It's got one. Why doesn't it just give me that function URL? Okay. That's fine. It's not fast though. Okay, one really interesting thing about Hono that I want to learn more about, and we should dig into in another stream, is why Hono has a short init duration but a long duration. So init duration is only 130 milliseconds, which is more or less on par with like Node 20, but it does a ton of stuff during the main function. And I don't know why it would do that, because you get more vCPU during init regardless of what size your function is. And it's probably slowed because, like, as a result of this, the memory size, I think in this one is like 128. Yeah. Memory size 128. So, like, why? Why? Okay, first off. Oh, it needs that stupid constant. Does anyone remember what that is in CDK? Lambda CDK memory size. No, I know. I want the type. It's got a type. Is it just a number? Can I just do 1769, or will it throw like a type error at me? No. Okay. We have bounced around today, chat. We have used some Vercel. We have used some TypeScript. We have used some Rust Lambda web adapter, and we've used a serverless framework and some YAML. Thank you for joining me on this epic journey of the myriad of ways to configure AWS Lambda functions. Okay, so now it's got this. I don't want that endpoint though. Oh, we can change this too, right? We don't need the. I don't want this. Just return. I don't think we care about this URL or this, do we? We just want the function URL. Yeah, we don't want API gateway. And how do we add outputs? Stack.outputs, stack.add outputs. Let's go back to our CDK samples and take a look. I think it's stacked at outputs. Oh, that's Python. Ooh, yikes. Okay, we just got to return new CDK CFN output, and then this. Okay. Oh, we don't get the function URL here? Oh, is this the result? Can I just... Does this return anything? It does. It returns a URL. Is unassignable to CFN output props. Property value. Value? Is that real? What is this? Ugh, I'll just copy it off the stack. I don't want to learn CDK stuff right now. Shouldn't change. Still there. Configuration, function URL. Yeah, we still have this here. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I don't know why Hono is doing a bunch of stuff during the execution phase when it could use init phase to amortize that cost better. It's deleting. Oh, it's deleting the API gateway. The REST API. Does this work still? Good. No such file directory. Time curl this. Okay, so that's working. And we need to, now we need to modify the endpoint, right? Like we always do, chat. Chat. App.get. Boom. Oopsies. No overload matches. Why can't I wrap that in a curly brace? Why would that get mad at me? Oh, does it have to return something now? Fine. Wait, why are you... My editor still thinks it's 8 space tabs. That's ridiculous. Let's copy this. Okay. Oh, this is all CJ or ESM. That's fine. And we actually want this to be above because we want to test this before we import all this code. Chat, you're getting sleepy on me. You're getting sleepy on me, chat. That's fine. What do we care about? Okay. Is cold start result, and then we care about this response. And this is probably c.json, right? All right, let's deploy that. Rip the deploy out, straight to prod. Hello, everyone at YouTube, too. It looks like there's a number of folks in chat there. Welcome if you're new to the stream. My name's AJ. I'm a software engineer at Datadog. I work on the serverless observability space. And on my spare time, I work on this kind of stuff for serverless. I'm also an AWS serverless hero, as per the little tiny sign back there. Boop. And I write a lot of blog posts about serverless stuff. Although I do want to host more, like I'm really looking to get like a Synology or some kind of, you know, little, this work? Okay, good. Good. Okay, that looks great. So, okay, we got this response back. So now we can plug this into the test system. So I have to do the same thing I did last time. Now we have Hono. We have a normal web server in Express. I'm going to tear this down and start it back up so I get a new anonymous URL. But I don't have to hide it from you because it's not an output. But yeah, if you are interested in distributed systems or serverless or, you know, any kind of the space in building back-end web applications, that's what I'm kind of into and happy to talk about it. But I do spend a lot of time these days working on serverless functions because I think it's fun. I think it's nice. They're small, they're packaged. Miss Primo, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Hope you're having a good time. Okay, that is destroyed. Now we can deploy it again. And then we will grab that URL. I will hide it and I will drop it in. Nice chill Saturday morning stream with a bunch of folks in my DMs. Okay. Deployment, stop. Okay, now I have to hide it because I have to go back into the Lambda console and grab it. Bear with me here because this URL is not the same anymore. Well, this function doesn't exist, right? Got a new function URL. That's great. I'm gonna go drop it back in here. Okay. Now I should be able to do this again. And now we need Hono process.env.cold start Hono. Oh no. Oh no, Hono. Okay. So now I should be able to deploy this and we'll start getting results for Hono.js. And this should hopefully address what Guillermo and Tom and Malta, I'm sorry if I got your name wrong, we're asking, which is they have a little HTTP server in here in their Vercel functions, in their triangle functions. And I am doing the same thing. We're doing this in the Lambda web adapter. They're a little different. They're going to be different. That's fine. Come on, deployment. All right, sweet, we're done. That is great, that's out there. So we're gonna let that cook. We're gonna let that cook for a while. I want at least a week's worth of data because we are only, well, I want at least multiple days of data because I don't want to make a conclusion too early. Like I said in the tweet, in my case, I was only able to get 539 cold starts this week because I'm only testing once every 15 minutes. I don't know if I can pronounce that. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. For those of you who are lurking or new, appreciate the follow. Appreciate the jumping into chat and saying hello. The theme for the last couple of days has been working on these like kind of cold start benchmarks with Vercel and Lambda. It's all open source. You can find it all on GitHub. I can link to it in the stream, but they're all just right here under my name. You can find them all. So we're just testing that. That's it. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So we want this to sit because we're only testing once every 15 minutes, right? So we have this cron that's running this benchmark function. The next thing they want me to do, which I think is fair, they want me to take a look at this from a different network connection other than US East 1. So we talked about this just a little bit. Oh, where's my, yeah, here we go. There's my diagram. AWS is divided into regions. Each region has multiple availability zones. Each availability zone can run a Lambda function, and you can only deploy into the region. You don't choose which AZ you land into. So some are going to be slower than others, right? You may cross AZ boundaries. You may be in the same building. You may be on the same machine. So we want to test over the course of time to get a better number. Like all things, this is just a data point in your decision making. But I do want to get as close to reality as we can. So I think what we're going to do tomorrow is we'll build a little Rust daemon that can run on my laptop. Well, actually, okay. So we need to get something. Maybe we'll hook it up on that Raspberry Pi that's sitting behind me, because which you can't see. Maybe we'll hook it up on this Raspberry Pi that's right there, because I want it to be able to run for a week and collect round trip information on a fiber network, which I can plug directly into my router. Wow, why am I blanking on router name? So that way we can test something outside of AWS, because Vercel pointed out that when I make a request to a Lambda function URL, it may not be like hitting the public internet at all, which would make sense. I would imagine they have an internal DNS that broadcasts their route that's in the same building, so it probably never leaves fiber. I don't know where their CDN lives. They talked about that here. I don't know what they're using. My guess is because the way they describe their edge location and their routing, they're using what's called AWS's Global Accelerator. Really cool piece of technology. What it does is it just takes your request from your customer and it will point it to whatever region they're closest to. So I think the easiest way to understand is look at their pricing. You have a request that comes in, they do bill you for it, but wherever it comes in, it gets routed to the nearest AWS location. Their nearest region, and does that for you. So my guess is this is what Vercel's using, or they're using something on Cloudflare, which could be very true. And then, then there's extra network hops. I'm not sure, but the whole benefit is like, you get the request gets put onto AWS's backplane absolutely as quickly as possible. And I forget what throughput. It's a stupidly large network. So lowest latency and highest throughput. So you get, you pay for it, but then you get to be put on that network fast. I don't know what they're using. They don't say here, but that would be my guess. And then, okay. So that is all I have time for today. I really appreciate you. There's a bunch of you here. That's new for me. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm going to go set up a raid. We'll go over to say hi to Melky. Please, if you're new here, drop a follow. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter or send me a DM if you have any serverless questions. I really appreciate you all spending the time with me today. Thanks so much. Y'all have a good one. Peace.